because they think that coding carbs is dumb. But at the same time, they're also coming to me as a trainer because they're overweight. So, are they linked? I'm not really sure.
Episode today. Welcome back, everyone. Joined here by myself and Mr.
You pointed at me, go myself,
and Danny.
That was great. You have such a soft and sultry voice. Like, it does not start off with a bang. Like when I talk, I'm like, "Yeah, what's up, guys? Welcome back." And then you're like, "Hello, guys. Thank you for joining us this evening on the YouTube channel.
Welcome.
Tonight we're going to be listening to Beethoven 6. So thanks guys for welcome back for another episode. As you know, hopefully by now, and if not, it's your first time, I'll slowly explain. Benny here is our host. He's going to be explaining, or kind of asking me questions about what he thinks is really pertinent to him and hopefully to you guys about the fitness industry. Kind of breaking up a lot of the the lies we hear, the fiction, and honestly. I wouldn't even want to push it that way. A lot of people already do that. Like, oh, this is truth, this is false. It's more about what pertains to you and what doesn't.
What works for you?
Yeah, because that's what matters at the end of the day. Honestly, everything everyone's mentioned has worked for somebody, which is why they're preaching it, right?
Yeah.
So I will do my best, and over my years of experience, coaching trainers with RX Fit and coaching clients, obviously. So I've developed a little bit of information we've stacked up over the years, and I will be trying to help you out. Trying to explain who works for what and why. What do you got for us today, Mr. Benny?
Today,
Benny Oliver.
Very important one that I've been taking on myself. Stretching.
Oh, shit. Stretching.
Stretching. How important is stretching to our everyday life? Late 30s, and you go for a bag of rice, like if you're buying bags of rice, and you hit one on accident and it hits the ground, and you have to bend over and pick it up, and you're like, I'm a little stiff. Help with that? With stretching, help with. Everybody's talking about stretching. There's the yoga going on now. People doing yoga in the parks, yoga with goats. They're doing hot yoga, maybe cold yoga's next. I mean, contract and then stretch. I mean, who knows?
That's actually not a bad idea. I'm gonna put that on the back burner.
Okay, all right, cool. So yeah, man, just how important is stretching?
Well, definitely depends on what your goals are. I could just make a very general answer. It's like, it's important for everybody.
Yeah.
Which it kind of is. But let's look at I want to look at the extremes of it, right? You have the person who's like working out all the time, never stretches, and you have the person who just stretches all the time, right? Never works out. Okay?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I've actually been on both sides. I used to be a powerlifter, so I know what it feels like to never stretch. On the only working out but not stretching part, why this even matters is it's kind of obvious. It's like, oh, you'll get hurt, and it's true. You'll get hurt. You have these things. Your muscles are like bands. Every time you tear a muscle from like working out. The fascia, as we've gotten pretty comfortable with, is the webbing around the muscle, binds to that muscle and compresses it and makes sure it's small, so that way while it can heal, while it's in its little webbing,
Okay.
So that way you're not constantly like, tearing open an open wound, right? It's like if you had a cut here, you put a Band-Aid over it. If you didn't put a Band-Aid over it, it could potentially get worse and worse and worse, and then have a scar because it would never bridge the gap. That's what the fascia is doing, and which is why you get those knots, and when you foam rolling or doing anything like that, you have to break up that tissue. So after it heals, though, it doesn't loosen back up. Unfortunately, you have to like manually do it physically, like with a myofascial release, like a trigger point or a foam roller, or somewhat massage therapist. Or you can do a static stretching, which is like toe touches, right, or like side lunges or whatever.
Right.
So that's what's happening there, and that's why you're stiff, and you get stiffer and stiffer and stiffer when you're working out and you're not stretching. Now, of course, that can lead into all kinds of problems. You're going to anterior pin if you have shoulder pain. That's probably from that. If you ever wake up in the morning, it's like, oh man, I slept wrong last night. Now I feel bad. You did not sleep wrong. You were already tight to begin with, and then you just happened to move wrong with it. It was like the hay that broke the camel's back, I guess is the saying, right? So that's this guy over here. That's what I used to be. And then I did a little experiment with myself, and I just did an hour a day of foam rolling every single day for a month. And I want to see what happened, right?
Wow.
Holy crap. I never felt so energetic. It's funny because I wasn't making any more energy than I was before. But what's cool is, let's say you make this amount of energy, but you're consuming X amount of that energy just moving around because you're fighting against your own binded muscles. You're like, right? But then you don't have to fight the energy. Like your energy's here, but now it feels like it's up here, even though it's the exact same spot. But you're not wasting excess energy trying to move because you just feel like it light as a feather. I'd go for a run, and I would go before that month, I was running 2 miles max and I was like exhausted and done. I'm like, I'm out of here.
With his eyes closed.
And then after that month, I was running easily 4 miles because I felt like I was light as a feather. I was just like bouncing everywhere on my toes, like wee. I just felt so light. It was amazing. It was very free.
So you're saying that stretching is just actually efficient for your body?
Very efficient.
I never thought about it in terms of energy.
So the guy over here, or girl, who is very flexible but not very strong, will also run into problems because it's called hypermobile. We run into this sometimes with people who can like put their hands flat on the floor while standing up,
right?
But they have no strength whatsoever, right? Like, oh shit, it's like, how are you so flexible but you have no muscle strength? And that's actually what's happening is their muscles are so weak and so lump that they can bend into any position because the muscle's not there to stop them, right? That can obviously lead to a lot of injuries, like because your muscles are there to support, like your joints and your shoulders and your abdominals and your spine, and like all they're there to protect their encasing. And if they're not there doing that, then you can risk injuries by bending the opposite way. Like the strong guy who's not doing flexibility is having anterior impingement because his shoulder is so strong, it's pulling it in and it's pressing against his nerves, and he's like constantly feeling that pain. And then the person who's hypermobile is feeling pain because it's the opposite. It's like they're bending so far the opposite way that it's like just tearing open the ligament.
Oh, wow.
So what you want to be, and I bring this up a lot, this example, is you want to be a gymnast. Gymnasts are hypermobile, but they're also incredibly strong. They're just the best of both worlds. They can bend over and touch their hands to the ground, but then they can like do a handstand in that position, right? Because they have so much strength, they can lift their lower body up.
Right.
So the goal there is to have this muscle that's long, make it really strong, so as it gets shorter, it's going to get shorter when it gets stronger, but then force it to become long again. So it's the strength of a shorter muscle, but it's still long. So that means you have the flexibility, if that makes any sense. You have the strength of a person who's strong, but you also have the flexibility of someone who's flexible. Obviously. Yeah. And that's what you want. It just takes longer, unfortunately. So the answer to that is you cannot injure yourself from foam rolling. I say that all the time. It feels like you're going to tear something when you're doing it. Like I have a PVC pipe here. It's just a pipe, like a plastic pipe. Right. And it feels like someone's stabbing me with a Bowie knife. Like it's like ah. And you want to cause as much pain in your body when you're foam rolling, and it will help. I promise to relieve all that tension, that pain from wrapping around the nerves. Wow. And then do your workout, and then foam roll again afterwards, or stretch or whatever. Do yoga as well, of course. But really push yourself through the ringer when you're stretching, because you won't tear anything. I promise you won't tear anything. But it does feel like you're going to tear something when you're foam rolling.
Foam rolling. That's good because I had those. So cool. Great, man. I love that.
Do you stretch very often?
I've just now started getting into the stretching, so I'm kind of wanting to see how much am I doing. Should I be doing more? But then of course it's going to be on me, like how efficient I want to be with my body. So that's pretty cool.
And you probably need it more than most because you have a background of heavy strength training.
Oh my gosh, man. Yeah. I almost kind of want to do the whole month of just stretching type thing, but keep the guns too, So.
Well, you won't lose such a muscle mass.
That's true.
And at times you'll lose a little bit, but
stretching, maybe a shake weight, something like that. Which probably the biggest my arms have ever gotten. I had gotten a shake weight, and I was using it. I was doing it every day, like twice a day. I was going through the whole thing. Like some people don't really understand how hard it is to do a shake weight. If you actually do it like you're supposed to.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
I'm just talking shit because of the shake weight itself, but I know it's a hard workout.
It was funny because I get places and I have my arms out and I'm like, damn man, like what the you doing? Like shake weight.
And you're like,
shake weight. It's real.
All right. Well, hopefully that was a sufficient answer to all the questions.
Yeah, that was. All right. Thank y'all.
We'll see y'all next time.
See y'all next time.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. Check out anything else on Instagram at RxFitCo. And we'll have a bunch of clips from these episodes and the build videos and information you want, and the 8-week course that we're doing called Prime right now. That's all available on there as well.
And I'm Benny Oliver. You can find me at Bro Chill Music. Since you're tagging me now, I might as well, since we're doing the tag.
Oh, this is my jam.
Is there 5 lines?
I don't think you could write on that.
I can draw some notes.
It's actually a very good song. I'm really like, it's a good song.
Fill one in and put like a.
I don't think you can do it at random.
A kickstand and a flag on one. That's what I think about when I think